Hello, everyone. Dr. Ames here. What I'd like to talk about this time are the responsibilities for a CEO of a nonprofit organization. And as you can see from this particular list, it requires quite a few different types of, maybe you would call them personality traits, but certainly skills and so forth. And there's a reason that commit to the mission is at the top of the list. That is your highest responsibility, along with fiduciary matters, but certainly committing to the mission is what a CEO ought to be all about. And that means that you have to have a clear understanding of why you were hired, what issues are in play, and what the board would expect of you, and so forth. So committing to the mission, or really understanding what it is that you are there to do, is the most important of all your responsibilities. Um, Leading a staff and manage the organization, certainly you are at the top. If you're the CEO or the president or the local executive director or whatever the label is, you are the one who sets policy along with the board. You are leading. You are telling people what we want to be together and so forth. You are truly doing the nuts and bolts part of it, the management of the organization. And of course, that goes along with the idea of financially keeping things on track. Now, that is the ultimate responsibility of the board, of course, but the CEO or president or executive director certainly serves at the pleasure of the board. And so they are their person. Um, you are expected generally in the nonprofit sector to lead and manage the fundraising efforts that bring in revenue. After all, you're the top person. You're going to be the figurehead associated with the organization. You're going to be a role model and on display at all times. And you have to be able to know how to lead people and to encourage them to give you monies. And you've got to be able to have the managerial side down where you can manage different uh, different approaches that it requires to raise the revenue you might need. And while you're doing all these things, you certainly have to be ethical. And you want that. You have to have that. You have to be ethical. You have to follow standards. It will only build your reputation in the nonprofit, enhance the organization's overall credibility with the public. It will bring you more volunteers and it will bring you more donations. So keep to the high road. Make sure that there's a clear line of accountability. There are no surprises and always follow the law. Um, when you have to work with the board, help them with the planning. Be a participant. And that way you can lead the implementation, which is really your responsibility to implement whatever decisions are made in planning and so forth for the future and for even the short term. Um, you have to also, if you're of any size at all, develop the future leadership. And this could be anything from grooming an assistant manager to take over some of your responsibilities as you grow and so forth, to also participating with the board and finding new members depending on the type of governance structure that you have. And then, of course, you are the one that is on display as the figurehead. You are the advocate for that organization, for your people, for your mission. And so you have to build the right type of relationships and so forth. And so we're talking community, regional, national, whatever it takes to get your mission accomplished. Um, and while you're doing all these things and coming up with and planning and making new ideas and new programs to bring in revenue and to further your mission, you've got to make sure that those programs and projects and processes are all high quality and that they are effective because you want to reach your goals and get the job done. So they've got to be effective. Um, and then finally, because you are the agent of the board, you have to support the board. And so that means you have to communicate well, communicate frequently, and so forth, and really understand what they are expecting from you. Okay, folks, that's all I want to talk about this time. I'll talk to you again soon.